श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरौ श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनाम्ने गौरतिसे नमः हे कृष्णकरुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 5, text number 16, 6, 5, 16. This chapter is entitled Narada Muni cursed by Prajapati Daksha. Srishtiyapyayakarim mayam vela kulanta vegitam mattasya tam avijñasya kimasat karma bir bhavet सृष्ट्यप्ययकरीं मायां वेलाकुलान्तवेगितां मत्तस्य तामविज्ञस्य किम् असत्कर्मभिर्भवेत् सृष्टि creation apyaya dissolution kareem one who causes mayam the illusory energy velakula anta near the banks vegitam being very rapid mattasya of one who is mad, tam, that material nature, avijñasya, who does not know, kim asat karma bhi bhavet, what benefit can there be by performing temporary fruitive activities? Translation by and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Narada Muni had said that there is a river flowing in both directions. The Haryashvas understood the purport of this statement. Material nature functions in two ways, by creation and dissolution. Thus, the river of material nature flows both ways. A living entity who unknowingly falls in the river is submerged in its waves. And since the current is swifter near the banks of the river, he is unable to get out. What will be the benefit of performing fruitive activities in that river of Maya? Purport. One may be submerged in the waves of the river of Maya, but one may also get free from the waves by coming to the banks of the knowledge and austerity. Near these banks, however, the waves are very strong. If one does not understand how he is being tossed by the waves, but simply engages in temporary fruitive activities, what benefit will he derive? In Brahma Samhita 5.44, there is this statement. सृष्टि स्थिति प्रलय साधन शक्तिरेका छायेव यस्य भुवनानि बिभर्ति दुर्गा. The Maya Shakti Durga is in charge of Srishti, Sthiti, Pralaya, creation and dissolution, and she acts under the direction of the Supreme Lord. Maya Dikshena Prakritihi Suyete Sacharacharam. When one falls in the river of nescience, he is always tossed here and there by the waves. But the same Maya can also save him when he surrenders to Krishna or becomes Krishna conscious. Krishna consciousness is knowledge and austerity. A Krishna conscious person takes knowledge from the Vedic literature and at the same time he must practice austerities. To attain freedom from material life, one must take to Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, if one very busily engages in the so called advancement of science, what benefit will he derive? If one is carried away by the waves of nature, what is the meaning of being a great scientist or philosopher? Mundane science and philosophy are also material creations. One must understand how Maya works and how one can be released from the tossing waves of the river of nescience. That is one's first duty. Hare Krishna. Mukam kurti vacharam pangam langete girim. Ektrapatamaham vande Shri Guru Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Mishwaram. Hare Krishna. So welcome all the devotees for today morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. So today we are discussing from Canto 6, Chapter 5, which is entitled Narada Muni cursed by Prajapati Daksha. Narada Muni is such a great preacher. What reason was there because of which he was cursed by Daksha? The reason was that Narada Muni interfered in the sense gratification of Daksha. The nature of materialistic people is that when their sense gratification is obstructed, then they become angry and they curse. So here Daksha's sense gratification was obstructed. And what was his desire? Daksha's desire that my children should go perform austerities and come back and rule the kingdom and enjoy life. But Narada Muni, being a compassionate preacher of Krishna consciousness, he felt why should these boys, young boys, waste their time? They are so intelligent, they are so bright faced, and they are doing austerities. Why not they go back, come back to Godhead? Why not they accept the path of Vairagya, renunciation? So he went to meet these children. So, in the western part of India, where the Sindhu river flows, so there is one place called Narayanasaras. In that place, these children had gone to perform austerities, and there Narada Muni arrived. And when Narada Muni arrived there, he saw these children, young, bright-faced people, and then Narada gives wonderful instructions. He speaks a riddle. What is the riddle? The riddle was a 10-point riddle. So there are 10 riddles to solve. And the Haryashvas, they heard these 10 riddles and they understood the meaning of these riddles and came to the right conclusion. And what is the right conclusion? The right conclusion was that we have to surrender fully to Krishna. We should completely dedicate our life to Krishna with no other duties, no other material activities. So in this way, they decided to become Vairagis. They renounced. And then they never went back home. Generally, father expects, parents expect, my son should stay with us and then take care of all the responsibilities of home. He should become rich, he should become successful, he should become married, he should have children, and then he should make the children educated, and their education, and their marriage. This is life. This is the definition of success. So you will see that nowadays, what is the definition of success? A successful career. So people have their definition. What is the definition? First of all, he should be graduated from a good college. Okay. Second thing, he should have a good job with good salary. Third thing, he should have good status in the society. Then fourth, he should have his own home, preferably a villa or apartment. He should have his own home, and he should have at least one car. Okay, if possible, two, one for husband, one for wife, and then they should have a good savings for retirement, so that they can relax without any anxiety. They can leave their body. So people consider this as the definition of success, but a devotee's definition is different. Right? He says, what is the use? Kim asat karma bhir bhavet. What is the use of indulging in such kind of activities which are ultimately going to be destroyed? So a devotee thinks differently. He values Krishna consciousness, not materialism. Materialistic things or activities, whatever it may be, if it is done, it will ultimately be futile. Srila Prabhupada says that all the material achievements are like zeros. Zero, 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 zero. Bank balance is a big zero. Material education degrees are another zero. And family and properties, there's another zero. Right? Fame, prestige, position, that's another zero. Because ultimately, when death comes, all these things will be taken off. Nothing will remain. So then what is the value? If you put a 1 in front of this 0, then that becomes 10, 100, 1000, 10,000. So in this way, the value increases. Similarly, whatever material activities we are doing, if it is connected to Krishna, if it is used in service to Krishna, then it is of value. Right? If somebody has a bank balance and he is using that for giving donation to Krishna, for Krishna's service, because Krishna doesn't need donation, everything is his only. But if a devotee offers with love some some of his earnings to Krishna, then Krishna becomes pleased. Oh, he is offering something to me. So Krishna becomes pleased. And that charity and that wealth becomes purified. If somebody is building a home and he gives the name of the home as a Krishna conscious name, Krishna Bhavan or uh, whatever, connected Vrindavan, or some people give name Barsana, whatever. Give the name to that home in connection to Krishna and make Krishna as the owner of that home, isn't it? By giving the center place to Krishna. So, in this way, whatever we do, if we add Krishna, if we include Krishna in that activity, then that activity becomes valuable. Otherwise, everything is big zero, isn't it? You might have heard the story of Mahamurka. There was a king who was very influential, very rich, and very powerful. And he was not at all spiritually interested. One day, one sage came to tell him about the Krishna consciousness, but this fellow was not interested. So the sage went away, thinking that no, this king is not interested in spiritual knowledge now, but he is interested in growing his kingdom, becoming more and more rich, more and more powerful. So sage went back, but before going, the sage told this king that I'll give you an order. You do this, and you'll be benefited. What is that? Find a fool in the kingdom. Find the fool. He should be the best fool, and give him a stick, and he should go around the kingdom and give him some salary per month. The king said, okay, if this is something very simple, we'll do that. So he called his soldiers and sent them all around the kingdom and said, bring the best fool. So they caught one person who was really fool. His hairs were disabled and he was speaking incoherent things and was very dull headed and pakka fool. So when he was brought, the king said, take this stick, keep roaming around the kingdom, and every month you'll get salary. Acha, I get salary just by doing this simple work. Okay, thank you. I'll do this. So he was doing this parikrama of the city and he was getting a salary. He was happy. And meantime, many years passed. The king also was becoming old and Kim became so sick that he was on the deathbed. So the king wanted to meet all his relatives and contacts. So everybody was coming and meeting. The king was expressing his remorse that I'll not stay longer. And he was crying, seeing his children and grandchildren and his relatives, kith and kin. And finally remembered, I met everybody but one person I have not met. Call that fool. I have not met him. I also want to meet him. So when the fool was called, fool also came. And then the king met the fool and said, see, you have done good service all throughout your life. Now you can stop this service. You give this stick to another person. Okay. Like that. Because I'm going now and I want to see that no, you are also retired and then you also live a peaceful life. So the fool asked, where are you going? I'm going very, very far, the king said. Is it? How far? 100 kilometers, 200 kilometers, 1000 kilometers? No, no, very, very far. You can't even estimate the distance. Acha. Then you must go on a chariot, right? So get ready the chariot and then sufficient stock of food should be there so that you can travel long distance. No, no, I cannot carry any chariot. Is it? You can't carry. At least take one wife so that she can cook for you and then take help you. No, no, I can't carry wife also. Take some money, at least gold coins, so you can purchase something on the way. No, that's of no use. I can't purchase anything on the road. So it is difficult. So I'm not allowed to take anything. So, we can't carry anything. So what kind of place is this? Oh, this is another life. I have to go to another life. So I don't know. Uh, the king said that. So that I also don't know where I'm going. So it's very difficult to understand, estimate. So, but am I ordered to use? You give it another fool, and then you retire. So then the fool he took the stick and gave it in the king's hand, and the king was surprised and shocked. Said, "You are giving this to me? You think I'm a bigger fool?" Then the fool said, "Yes, I think you are the biggest fool because whole life you worked for kingdom. You made such a big kingdom. You have such a bank balance, wonderful, big, big bank balance you have. Your treasury is full. You have so many wives, you have so many children, and you can't even take one person with them. Whole life you spent for something which you cannot carry and which will not help you at the time of death. So I think you're a fool." So then suddenly the king became aware what this fellow is telling is right. Fool, you are not speaking like a fool, you're speaking like an intelligent man. Who are you? Then the fool said, actually, you remember long, long ago one sage had come to meet you and he wanted to tell you about spiritual life, but you're not interested. Then he gave the order to find a fool and give him salary, and you brought me. I am his disciple. He is my guru, my spiritual master who saved me, who has opened my eyes, and who has given me the knowledge. That sage gave me the order, gave me the service to stay in this kingdom, act like a fool, and so that one day you will be able to give knowledge to the king. And that day has come now, my dear king. So as soon as king heard this, the he became enlightened. He became respectful. And immediately he said, "Oh, you have come to enlighten me at this time of need. I'm so grateful to you. Please tell me what I should do now. None of my relatives know what to do. They're all simply sitting and crying next to me. So if you can enlighten me, that will be good." So then the disciple of the sage, he spoke the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. We are all part and parcel of Krishna, eternal servants of Krishna. We have forgotten our original nature. And the goal of life is to reinstate ourselves in my original condition. What is that? Jivara Swarupa Krishna Nityadas. Eternal servant of Krishna, let me serve Krishna. How to do that? Then the disciple said, chanting the holy names of the Lord. By chanting the holy names, the pure holy names of the Lord, one can reinstate himself in his real position. The heart becomes free of all contaminations and Krishna Bhakti arises in the heart. So that is the only way in this Kali Yuga. So please chant the Hare Krishna mantra. So then the disciple initiated the king with the mantra Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare. And the king started chanting, and he spent his last moments of his life chanting the holy names and being initiated in the moment. So in this way, his life became perfect. So this story is very instructive because most of the population in this world is living like a fool. They are spending their life working hard for those things which will not help in the at the time of death, which will not come with them to the next life. So this is called foolishness. But intelligent person, he invests his time in those things which will give him eternal time. In Bhagavatam second canto, it is said, Ayur harati vaipumsam udyanastan chayanaso tasya ritet kshanonita uttama shloka vartaya. By the rising and setting of the sun, one day is taken out from my life. But those devotees who are engaged in hearing Krishna Katha, they are not affected by the time. For them, time doesn't diminish, the time expands. They get eternal time. Because people who do materialistic activities, because they are caught up in the jaws of time or death. Time is death. And they are forced to take birth again and again in this material world. But those devotees who hear Krishna Katha, they become liberated from death and they go to Vaikuntha where there is no effect of time. So one should desire to go from this world to Vaikuntha world where there is no effect of time. So the devotees, they become liberated from the effects of time, but the non-devotees, they get entangled in the effects of time. So that's why one should indulge in Krishna Katha, chanting the holy name and hearing Krishna Katha, speaking Krishna Katha, thinking of Krishna. So these are the ways by which one can become Krishna conscious. So Narada Muni is enlightening these children in the topic of Krishna consciousness. Kim asat karma bhir bhaved. Why do you want to waste your time engaging in material activities? You have done it in your past life. Life after life, we have done this thing. Right? Eating, mating, sleeping, defending. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. Every life, one got married, either in human species or animal species. Even animals have marriages. The bird heap, male and female birds, male and female dogs, they mate, they produce. What is new in that? Right? What is new? Nothing is new. Everything is old only. Right? Old wine in a new bottle. That's all. Sense gratification differs. There are 84 types, 84 lakh species, 84 lakh bottles. And same thing, eating, mating, sleeping, depending is filled in that. That's all. Pig may eat stool and be happy. Human may eat halwa and be happy. Right? The camel may eat thorny bushes and think, I'm happy, I'm blissful. So, eating, mating, sleeping, depending, one is going through in every life, in every species. But still, one is not tired of those desires. Mhm. But intelligent man, one who comes to this realization that sense gratification, kim asat karma virva, this sense gratification is useless. Material activities are useless. Pious activities are also useless. Because pious activities also keep us bound in this material world. So what is the use? So one should engage in Krishna conscious activities, spiritual activities. So that is what is worth it. That's what is meaningful. So in this way, Narada Muni is preaching to these children, and these children are gradually developing that awareness. Yes, what you're telling is right. Every life we have wasted in sense gratification. Now, by great fortune, we have got a guru like you, Narada. We'll follow you. In every life, in every lifetime, we got mother and father who told us to engage in sense gratification only. None of them told to engage in Krishna consciousness. But now we have got you, and you are telling us to engage in Krishna consciousness. We'll certainly do this. We'll not go back home. We'll stay here and do Krishna consciousness. So this is how serious the children became. And what are the instruction given by Narada? So this mentioned here. Hmm. So there are 10 points which Narada mentions in this riddle, and then they understand the essence of this, and then they become liberated. I'm just seeing if I can show the PPT in our Bhaktivedanta classes, Bhaktivedanta classes. We just went through this. Has the summary of this section been discussed? Sankarshan Prabhu?
No, Prabhuji.
No. Okay. I'll just give a summary of these 10 points so that.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Mhm. Then I'll zoom on this one shloka which we're discussing today. Mm. It comes here. So in 10 slokas, Narada talks this riddle, this allegory, you can say. Adrishtvantam bho. And this is the first thing. You're not seeing the extremities of the earth. So you're not seeing the extremities. What is the benefit of engaging in temporary activities without any cessation of bondage? We see no end to the designations accepted by the jivas, their mortal bodies or the field of activities. Means what? So many lifetimes we are born and we died, and so many names and forms we have taken. There is no end to this. Adrishtva antam bho. You have not seen the end of your mortal activities. So many lifetimes you have taken birth and you continue to take birth again and again. Please understand this. So one is born and one dies. So one should come to realization that I should stop this now. There is no end to this, no limit to this. Tathaika Purusham Rashtram. There is a kingdom where only one male king lives. And what is that kingdom? It's the kingdom of God, that is spiritual world, where there's only one Purusha who is Krishna, and all others are Prakriti. Ekala Ishvara Krishna Arasava Bhrutya. Only one Ishvara, that is Krishna. Arasava Bhrutya. We are all servants. Krishna is Purusha, we are all Prakriti. So that is spiritual world. So try to understand what is the spiritual world. Hmm. So what's the use of working hard for sense gratification without understanding Him, the Supreme Lord? Okay. Now then, Bilam Chadrishta Nirgamam. There is a hole. Bila means a hole. And once you enter there, she will not be able to come out. So this refers to Vaikuntha. So upon reaching them, one never returns to this world. Yadgatva na nivartante. So what is the use of insubstantial karmas if one is ignorant of Lord's abode? Right? If you don't know about Vaikuntha, if you don't know about God, if you don't know about extremities of this material world, what is the use in engaging in material activities? Kim asat karma bhiya bhavet. So that is the third thing which he says. Then bahurupam striyam. And there is a stri or a lady who takes different forms. Bahurupam striyam. And by taking different forms, wearing different dresses, uh, and attracts us. And this is nothing but our intelligence. Sanchay's prostitute changing dresses. The jiva's unsteady intelligence with many forms endowed with mode of passion. Because the mind intelligence gets contaminated by mode of passion, it gives us to different desires to enjoy in this material world through its different senses. Through the eyes, ears, nose, he wants to enjoy different tastes, flavors, sounds, smell, and touch. He wants to enjoy, and these desires keep multiplying, just like an unchaste prostitute changing dresses. Because the prostitute wants to attract men, and she poses differently by wearing different dresses and fragrances to attract people. So similarly, the materialistic intelligence also changes uh, desires to attract the soul to sense gratification. So the mind is like the intelligence is like a prostitute. What is the gain if one fully engages in karma without understanding the tendencies of intelligence? So try to understand the materialistic intelligence, Narada told. Pumamsam pumschali patim. The husband of the prostitute. So there is a prostitute which is intelligence, and then there is a husband of the prostitute which is a jiva. Pumschali patim. It is a jiva, soul. Try to understand you are the soul, you are attracted to this prostitute and trying to enjoy this material world and you are suffering. Because there is no limit to satisfying the prostitute. Right? It is said she wants more and more and more. Sometimes the prostitute kills the husband only because she wants more enjoyment from others, because she has some other paramours. So that's why one should understand material intelligence and one should understand that I'm the master, I'm the husband, and I should surrender to Krishna. So today's verse talks about the sixth point, Nadim Ubhayato Vaham. There's a river which flows forward and backwards, both ways. Generally, we see rivers flowing in one direction, right? Some flow from east to west, some flow from west to east, north to south. But you don't see one season the river is flowing southwards, another season it is flowing northwards. You don't see that. But there is a river which flows both ways. See and try to understand where is this river. What is this river? This is nothing but Maya, material world, material creation. It's created and destroyed. It's created and is destroyed. See, flows in both the ways. We'll discuss more about this after this revision, after the summary. Pancha Panchadbhutam Graham. There is a home, Graha, made of Pancha Pancha, 25 elements, 5 into 5. What is this? Right? The Supreme Lord is the reserve of 25 elements. He controls them and causes their manifestation. So, what is the benefit if one engages in karma not knowing that Supreme Person who is the origin of these 25 elements? Says whole material creation is made of 25 elements. There is a home of the Lord, isn't it? So one should understand that the entire material world is also creation of the Lord, home of the Lord. So understand this. Hamsam Chitrakadham. So there is a Hamsa, a bird, which is speaking very melodiously. Chitrakadham. Swan, speaking swan that vibrates various sounds. And this swan is none other than the Shastra, the Vedas, that describe the Lord, illustrate bondage and liberation, and discern the spirit from matter. So, by reading the scriptures, one understands the Supreme Lord, one understands one's constitutional position, and how to get liberated from this bondage and be situated in Maswarupa. So, that is Shastra. One should take shelter of the Shastra. And then, Kshaurapavyam Swayam Brahme. And there is a Kshaurapavyam, there is a sword which is rotating, revolving sharp object. So what does this mean? This is time. The time destroys everything. So the sword kills. Sometimes in the battlefield they use such weapons. Right? Sometimes on the chariot wheels they tie sharp swords. So when the chariot enters into the enemy or enemy army, then just by moving of the chariot, the swords are also moving along with the chariot wheels. So they keep killing people. So similarly, in this material world also there is a unseen revolving object which is destroying everyone. So that's Kala. Eternal time revolves very sharply. Uninterrupted and fully independent drives the activities of the entire world. What benefit can one derive from temporary karma if one does not try to study the eternal element of time? So the next one is Swapitur Adesham Avidvamso. Swapituho, your father's order you don't know. Avidvamso, you don't understand your father's order if you're not intelligent. So here, one must accept the instruction of Shastra, the original father, which teaches liberation. Nivarthakam. Actually, if Daksha, the father of the Haryashvas, told this Haryashvas, you should come back, get married, and produce a lot of children. But Narada is telling, understand your father's order. Who is my father? Shastra, Krishna. What is Krishna's order? Saradharman Pratyajya Mamekam Sharanam Rajam Tam Sarvapibhya Mokshashami Masucha. My father's order is to surrender everything to him, to love him, to serve him. So I have not understood that. So let me do that. In this way, um, the Sharyashvas, they understood. See, they're all sitting here, all 10,000 of them sitting, and Narada is speaking. Kim asat karma bhir bhavet. So Narada speaks and they hear. Right. So extremities of the earth means metal body. So we have taken so many lifetimes we have spent, millions of lifetimes and bodies we have attained. So try to understand that. There's one male king who is the Supreme Lord, Krishna. Then there's a whole Vaikuntha. After going there, you will not come back. That's the third point. Of course, another hole is Patala. Those sinful people go there and never come back. It can refer to both. And there is a prostitute who has different dresses. That's unsteady intelligence. And prostitute husband who is suffering here, sitting here, you see. He the husband of the prostitute, frustrated by them. And that is Jiva. And the river Maya in which we are drowning. The house made of 25 elements. So that's the Lord's home. The entire creation is Lord's home. And there is a swan swimming in the fresh, clear water, and that is a Shastra. And there is a sword, sharp object revolving, that is time. And then Father's order, scriptural injunction, which is to surrender to the Lord. So they understood all these points, and then they become self-realized, and they become Vairagis. See, now they have got shaved up, all of them shaved, and they took to dress of a renunciate. They wore saffron robes, and they went. And hearing this, Daksha became angry. He became so angry, furious. But somehow he controlled himself, and then he produced another lot, which is another 1,000 children. They got shaved as well. So they also went to do austerities. And Narada Muni came to meet them again. And Narada's preaching is very simple now. He said, see, your elder brothers, they have already attained perfection and they are on the way back to Godhead. You should also follow the footsteps of your elder brothers. And hearing this, the younger brothers, they thought, oh, yes, what you're telling is right. Why should we waste our time engaging in sense gratification? Let's also go back to Godhead. So they also become renunciates. Daksha became even more furious. He became angry, he was fuming with anger. Mhm. And then Narada understood, Hare, Daksha is becoming very angry. Let me go and meet him. Because I have delivered Swayambhu Manu, I have delivered Priyavrata, I have delivered Uttanapada, I have delivered Dhruva, I have delivered Priyavrata's dynasty, and even I have delivered Prithu Maharaj, Dhru Maharaj dynasty, there's Prithu, there's Prachini Parisha, there's Prachetas. I have delivered everybody. Only this Daksha is remaining. Let me try. So Narada comes in front of Daksha out of compassion for Daksha. Now Daksha was suffering. To relieve Daksha from his suffering, Narada came. And when Narada came, Daksha spoke left, right, center, insulted him and cursed him. You will not have a home for yourself. You will not be able to stay for more than 3 days in any place. He cursed him. Narada accepted the curse and went in. It was because of compassion that Narada came there to relieve Daksha of that anxiety or that frustration. Then Daksha became little peaceful because his emotions were, he bursted out, and then when it is removed, one becomes peaceful. So then Daksha again produced 60 daughters. This time no sons, only daughters, because Narada will not come now. Because women, difficult to follow a renounced life. So for men it is okay, especially those with Brahmanical inclination. Renounced life is good for them. But generally, most other people get married. But for those who are Brahmanically inclined and those who are having less attraction to material life, so they can renounce and they can live a simple life. So then Daksha produced 60 daughters, and then they got married to different sages and they populated the universe. So this is what is described in this chapter. Now, here coming to the point of today's verse, it is said that there is Srishti apya kareem maya. Maya, nothing but this material creation, she creates and destroys. Srishti apya. So one direction is creation, another direction is destruction. Vela kulanta vegitam. And at the end, or at the border, at the shore, the river flows very swiftly. So even if somebody has fallen into this river, he wants to get out of this river, but the current is so strong that he is not able to reach the shore only because current is so strong. And inside the lake is the river is very deep, and on the shore it is very fast. So how to get out? Very difficult to get out. So Srila Vishwanath Thakur also mentions that it's very difficult to get out of this. So he describes. He says, what is the use of insubstantial karmas performed by a helpless person who does not consider Maya like a river which flows in one direction during creation and in opposite direction during destruction and flows quickly near the banks? So he explains here, this verse explains the river flowing in both directions. Maya causes creation and destruction. At the time of creation, the elements flow out one after another. At all the 24 elements, one after the other, they come. First comes Pradhana, then comes Mahatattva. From Mahatattva, in the mode of goodness, passion, ignorance, come several elements. Mahatattva, when it is transformed, it transforms into Ahankara, and that Ahankara mixes with Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, and becomes different elements. In the mode of goodness, it produces mind, and it produces Devatas. In the and when the that ego mixes with Rajoguna, it produces senses and intelligence, 10 senses and intelligence. And when it mixes or transforms in through Tamoguna, it produces metal objects and tanmatras, Panchamahabhuta, Panchatanmatra. So it produces. So in this way, at the time of creation, the elements are flowing out. At the time of destruction, they enter in reverse order. Right? The elements merge one into another and finally merge into Mahatattva and become Pradhana. And the Pradhana is the original native form of all the elements. So Vela means bank or water. Thus Vela Kolanta means near the bank. The river flows quickly near the bank. For those who have fallen in samsara, the place to get out refers to austerity and knowledge. But Maya flows quickly there with prominent anger and ego to prevent person from getting out. Okay, it's a very important concept to understand. With Chakravarti Thakur is telling here that how to get out of the samsara by doing jnana and vairagya, by developing jnana and vairagya. Jnana means knowledge, vairagya means austerity. So one does follows a regulated life, performs tapasya, vrata, dana, that is austerities. With his body, mind, words, he does austerities. With the body, he bows down to gurus. He keeps his body clean. He follows brahmacharya vrata. So these are all austerities of the body. In the austerities of mind, he remains satisfied. He remains peaceful. Right? He remains grave. So that austerities of the mind. Austerity of speech, he speaks only as much as required and only topics related to Krishna. And he speaks things which are beneficial to others, useful to others. That's austerity. But one danger of doing austerities is that gives rise to anger. You will see generally people who do very severe austerities are prone to anger, like Durvas Muni. Durvas Muni is a great sage, does a lot of austerities, but short tempered. He immediately curses people. So there's anger. So a person wants to get rid of this material world by doing austerities, but he comes to the shore but gets subjected to anger and again comes into the river because he's not able to cross the river because he's getting subjected to anger. And there is ego. Who becomes egoistic? Person who has jnana or knowledge. So when he gets too much of knowledge, he thinks I'm great. I know everything. And this prevents the person from getting out. Janma Ishware Shuddha Sribhir Yedamana Madapuman Naivaharti Avidhatum Vai Tom Akinchana Gocharam. Kunti Maharaji says, Janma Aishwarya Shruta Shri. One of the thing is Aishwarya Shruta means knowledge. A person who becomes very knowledgeable, he thinks that I know a lot. Edamana Madapuman, that is intoxicating. So a person may get intoxicated by anger or intoxicated by pride or ego, and then he falls down. A person who does austerities can get prone to anger, and person who has too much of knowledge, he may be prone to ego, and that will keep him in the material world. Right? Kritavegam and Vegitam are two versions. Mattasya means a person has no control because of the speed. Right? Mattasya kim Mattasya tam avijnasya. He doesn't know the speed of the river, and he is actually drowning. He has no control. It's, have anyone of you experienced swimming in a river and being carried away by the current? It's very risky. Once we were in Yamuna, taking bath in Vrindavan on the bank of Yamuna, and then suddenly one person, he was one of the boys, he was there with me, and then he put a step down and he couldn't find the bottom. He slipped, and I turned around, I didn't see him. I said, what happened? Then jumped into the water, and then we could find touch, and it pulled him out. So the current is strong, especially near the bank. And so if you slip or are not careful, then you may be carried away. So then I pulled him, and then he was gasping for breath and became normal. And he says, "Thank you, Guruji. You gave me second chance." He said. So uh, current is strong. So if one is not careful, he may slip. Similarly, while doing austerities and while developing knowledge, if one is not humble, then there is chance that he may not be able to cross this water. He may be stuck up there only. So Vidya Dadati Vinayam. The effect of true knowledge is that he should become humble, not proud. If somebody is becoming proud by reading books, then he is not actually reading. If somebody is becoming very angry by doing austerity, then he is not doing it properly. Right? By doing austerities, one should become purified by that from all the tendencies of gratification. So that's the purpose of austerities, like doing Ekadashi or doing Janmashtami Vrata or Chaturmas Vrata. So one should become free from all this uh, uh, anger and all the anarthas. But by doing austerities, one is becoming proud. See, I'm so great, I do Nirjal every Ekadashi. So then that is not the purpose. So he'll stay in this material world because of his pride. At one Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was doing Sankirtan in Shiva Sangan, so many people were allowed to participate. Selected people were allowed to participate. But one milk drinking brahmachari came and requested Shiva Thakur, please allow me to see darshan of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dancing. I drink only milk. I'm Pakka brahmachari. I do drink only milk and I don't have any other tendencies, habits. Please allow me. And Shiva Thakur said, okay. So you sit in this place and see the dance. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all the devotees are dancing and doing kirtan and ecstasy. And at some point of time, Lord Chaitanya stopped. And he said, is there anybody here who is not supposed to be here? And Shiva Thakur was immediately afraid. Oh, Lord, there is no atheists here. There are no karmis here. Is there anybody here who is not supposed to be here? Somebody said, I'm not feeling the same ecstasy as before. Then Shiva Thakur said, Mahaprabhu, there's only one simple brahmachari, milk drinking brahmana. He is there. Is it? Then that brahmachari came out and said, Lord, I am that I am here. Do you think you can get Krishna Prem by just doing austerity drinking milk? Get lost. Get out of here. Right? So we'll not get Krishna by doing austerities. We'll get Krishna only by doing devotional service. So Lord chastised him. And that brahmachari turned around and was walking out. But in his heart, he was so grateful. I just got to see a glimpse of Lord Chaitanya dancing. I'm so fortunate. I'm so grateful. Into that consciousness he was going. And this consciousness pleased the Lord. And he said, we can stay back. We can continue being part of this group. So in this way, Lord Chaitanya is giving a lesson that by austerities and even by cultivating jnana, one cannot get Krishna. Jnane prayasam udapasya namanta eva. Jnane prayasam udapasya. Yes, Brahmaji is telling here that those who give up jnana prayas and take to devotional service, namanta eva, jivanti san mukaritam bhavdiya vartam. स्थाने स्थिता श्रुतिगताम तनवान मनोभिर ये प्रायसु अजितोप्यसित त्रिलोक्यम. So those devotees who give jnana prayas and hear Krishna Katha through their ears, sitting in one place from great acharyas, they will be able to attain Krishna. Ajita jitopi, they will be able to conquer Ajita. So that's what Brahmaji says. So knowledge and austerities will not be able to give us Krishna prema. They'll keep us in this material world only. But when you develop bhakti, that bhakti is this boat which can take us out of this material world. So that's why we want to take shelter of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. With our own endeavor, we cannot come out of this ocean. We have to take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. I'll end with one beautiful verse by Kulashekar Maharaj, where he says, भवजलधिगतानां द्वन्द्ववाताहतानां सुतदुहितृत्कलत्रत्राणं भारार्दितानां विषमविषयतोये मज्जताम् अप्लवानां भवति शरणमेको विष्णुपोतो नराणाम्. He is telling Bhavajaladhi Dvandavata. People are in this Bhavajaladhi, the ocean of material existence. Dvandavata Hatanam, and they are being hit by the waves of Dvandva, sometimes happiness, sometimes distress. They are being slapped left and right by heat and cold, man, upman, victory and loss. Dvandavata Hatana. And Sutta Duhitra Kalatra Trana Bhararditana. And especially family man, materialistic Grahamedhi life, what is happening there? Sutta Duhitra Kalatra Trana, by the children, by daughters, wives, and relatives. Sutta Duhitra Kalatra Trana, Bhararditana, greatly troubled by the harassment of these people. And Vishayatoye Majjatam Aplavanam. And they're drowning in this material ocean because they're not able to find a boat. Aplavanam. So if you have boat, you can safely sit on it and you can be in the ocean but not be touched by the ocean. So Vishamatoye Majjatam Aplavanam Bhavati Sharanam Eko Vishnu Poto Narana. But there's only one shelter which can help us cross over this material ocean. What is that? Bhavati Vishnu Poto Narana, which is the boat of devotional service to Lord Vishnu. So let us take shelter of the devotional service to Lord Vishnu, especially by chanting the holy names of the Lord, studying Srimad Bhagavatam, reading Bhagavad Gita, and serving Krishna through 9 ways of bhakti. And in this way, one can cross over this Maya, which flows in both directions and which very swiftly flows at the sides, because a person is prone to anger and pride. And generally, the austerities, knowledge and austerity are the ways to get rid of that, but they only produce anger and pride, and one is not able to cross. So we should take a suitable boat to cross over this ocean. That is nothing but the devotional service to Lord Krishna. So with this, I like to pause here. If there are any reflections or any comments or questions, I will be happy to take. So I have another 2 minutes.
Krishna Prabhuji, Dandot Pranam. Thank you for explaining the 10 points what Narada was mentioning to this ice was. Thank you, Prabhu. Great.
Yes, anybody has any questions?
Krishna devotees, floor is open. Anybody want to share the realization or the questions, can request.
Hare Krishna, Suvarna Prabhu. Thank you very much for wonderful class, Prabhuji. I have one question, Prabhu. Narada Muni actually advised to the son of Daksha. Um, so they have taken his advice very seriously and they actually followed the path of perfection. Whereas with the same mood, Narada Maharishi was approaching Daksha Prajapati, but he was not willing to listen. And we also understand that his mood was different, but he was trying to follow the instructions of Lord Brahma. How to understand his mood of cursing, his act of cursing Narada Maharishi, Prabhuji? Is it because that his service was interrupted, or is it because Narada Maharishi was trying to interrupt his sense enjoyment, like you mentioned?
Yeah. So especially if you see the character of Daksha, he is a Brahmana. Actually, in the previous life, he was Brahmana. He was son of Brahma. Okay, you know that whole story, fourth canto, Shiva Daksha episode. So in the first Manvantara, Daksha was born as son of Brahma, and he was proud of his Brahmanical tejas, and he was seeking respect. And when Shiva didn't respect him, he became offensive. And first of all, he was not very happy because his daughter was married to Shiva. So he offended Shiva. And that offensive mentality was there in Shiva, in Daksha. So later on, Daksha was killed. Then later on, again, there's repentance and he got a goat head. So when he got goat head, he was too much disturbed. So he went to do austerities. He gave up his body. And Daksha was again born as son of Prachetas. You will see that in the end of fourth canto. Daksha was born as a son of Prachetas, and which came in this sixth canto also, in the last chapter, was introduced. She was born as son of Prachetas, and then he was given the order to again procreate. So then he started doing his duty, and he started producing children, and he was also attached to material life. Daksha is never described as a pure devotee. He is more of a karmakandi who is uh, interested in material enjoyment and who wants to lead a happy material life, pious life, not even sinful life, but pious life. And Daksha also said renunciation is good, but first experience. He talks to Narada. You are an immature preacher. इतना जल्दी ब्रह्मचारी बना दिया इसको. You should get married. First, you should understand what is married life. Then you should experience samsara. You should experience all material enjoyment, right? And wife, children, and everything. Then you should realize that no, the happiness is not much. It's very insignificant. That's what Daksha says. That one should go through experience. And when you go through experience and when you get the realization, proper realization, then that renunciation will be steady. But renunciation without experience is not steady. It's a valid point. It will come in the future. Prabhupada explains very beautifully. He says it's a valid point. Yes, without experience, realization will be unsteady. But it is not necessary that we have to experience in this life. In the past life also you have experienced. Right? In the past life also, one has experienced all the material pleasures and the frustration coming out of it. So if somebody is already ready for renunciation in the beginning of this life, why not? Why should you again go through that cycle? That is Narada's argument. And that's what Prabhupada also says. It's not necessary to experience. One can hear and one can realize and one can renounce. Prabhupada says that. But those who are not at that level that they can just hear, see, and realize and renounce, for them they should go through experience. But for those who can just by hearing and seeing they can understand, then that's best. Why to enter material life? That's what Prabhupada says. So Daksha Daksha's perspective is different, Narada's perspective is different. But Narada's perspective is absolutely right, and Daksha's perspective is relatively correct. So there became the difference. And Daksha also had this offensive mentality towards Vaishnavas. So it was there towards Shiva, and same thing was there towards Narada also. And then he offended Narada Muni, and then he continued with this pious materialistic life. And there is no reference to Daksha becoming liberated later on. The story ends like this only. There is no reference to Daksha becoming liberated. I hope I
Thank
just
you.
explained this point.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I think Daksha was having all the opportunities. He had darshan of Lord Mahavishnu, and he actually had the association of Narada Maharishi in this life. And also, he was actually born in the great lineage, son of Prachetas. But if one doesn't have that mood of taking up the opportunity seriously, then despite having all the opportunities, they may not attain perfection. I think that is the lesson for us, sadhakas. Prabhuji, I think we are also I'm referring to myself, in a similar situation where we have got in contact with a great lineage in the parampara of Srila Prabhupada. We have been given initiation, and we have got the association of devotees. But if we don't take the lessons and instructions from Srila Prabhupada and our spiritual master, then we may end up in similar situation. That's the message for myself. Thank you, Prabhuji. It was a very nice class, and you beautifully summarized as well.
Thank you. This message is for all. We have got wonderful association, Prabhupada's association and his devotees association. We should take it seriously and not reject it. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna devotees, if there are no questions, we'll end the meeting with the Vaishnava prayer, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नतकोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय।
Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam की जय। Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji. Thank you for your
Dandavat Pranam.
दंडवत प्रणाम।
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Tomorrow morning we'll meet the same time with all devotees. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam. We'll end